Live from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, Fox Sports Net presents Florida Marlins baseball. This afternoon, the surging fish try to pull out the brooms here in Philly after winning 2 nail-biters to start this series and 9-game road trip. Hi, everyone. Alongside Tommy Hutton, I'm Len Casper. A couple of great ball games already in this series. The Marlins winning both. How about last night? 5-4 the final. Lots of heroes. How about the left fielder? 20-year-old Miguel Cabrera with 3 big hits.
Yeah, let's go with the rookie. Let's go with the 20-year-old and talk about heroes. He got things going with a big home run last night, and he's gotten things going after his first 10 games. Hey, Miguel Cabrera has 14 hits since joining the ball club, 10 of those for extra bases. 4 home runs, 5 doubles, and a triple. And he's 5 for 11 against left-handed pitchers, and a lefty today in Randy Wolf. There's his double that really helped out in the scoring last night. That was his first time up. He was able to sneak it past the first baseman, Jim Tomei. And then a deep home run. He thought he may have just gotten under it too much, but it had enough loft and enough distance. So Miguel Cabrera already with 4 home runs and doing a nice job in left field as well.
We don't know who the NL All-Star catchers will be. Javi Lopez will likely get the start. Could it be Pudge Rodriguez for his 11th All-Star game or Mike Lieberthal for his 3rd? The Phillies certainly like Lieberthal's chances.
Yeah, you could throw in Paul LaDuca and Benito Santiago too, but certainly Lieberthal with a chance, and he's been an All-Star before a couple of times. He's hitting .331. That's 4th in the National League. He leads all major league catchers with that batting average. He's gotten base hits in 9 of his 11 games. Mike Lieberthal's been a Gold Glove winner. He won one in 1999. And he's also rebounded from a nasty knee injury in 2001. He only played in 34 games, the torn ACL and the torn MCL. So Lieberthal healthy. Larry Bowa's happy about that. Philly fans are happy about that.
Well, the Marlins and Phillies will find out how many All-Stars they'll get after the game today. The Marlins are hopeful to get at least 2, maybe even 3 on this year's National League squad. We'll wait and see. Let's check out the Gatorade pitching matchup. It is a dandy between a couple of good left-handers. Mark Redmond for the Fish. He's 6-3 with a .278 ERA. He beat Atlanta on Monday as he went the distance, notching his 2nd complete game of the year, 5th of his career. 2nd outing against the Phillies, he beat them for the Marlins' 1st win of the year on April 3rd at Pro Players. Randy Wolf for the Phillies, his 18th start. He's seeking his 10th win. He has a good shot at the All-Star team with those solid numbers. Has not lost in a while. 4 wins and 2 no decisions since June 1st. It's a hot one today. The Marlins go for the sweep. Marlins and Phillies coming up from the vet. Florida Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Net is being brought to you in part by Aflac. Ask about it at work. By your local Toyota dealers. Check out the big one at your Toyota dealer now. By Bell South Answers. More choice of services. All from one company, all one bill. And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Gatorade, is it in you? Toyota starting lineup for the Florida Marlins. Juan Pierre starts it. Luis Castillo has been very good against Randy Wolf. Over .400 with a home run in his career. It's Pudge Rodriguez behind the plate. 2 hits last night, including a home run. Mike Lowell is 0 for his last 9. Juan Encarnacion's in right. It's Derek Lee at first. Alex Gonzalez 1 for 8 in the series. Miguel Cabrera with 3 hits last night, as we mentioned. And Mark Redmond still trying to get that first hit as a member of the Marlins.
Well, you mentioned Randy Wolf, 6 foot, and he might be about 5'10", 5'11". 6 foot maybe pushing it, but an outstanding left-handed pitcher. He's 3rd in the National League in opposing batters, hitting just .202 against the left-hander. He'll go right after you with a lot of fastballs. He has a curveball, and he has been solid as a rock for the Philadelphia Phillies.
The Phillies starting pitching has been very good. Vicente Padilla struggled last night. 5 innings, gave up 5 runs. But the Marlins pitching has been outstanding in this series as well. So we're ready for game 3. The Marlins 2 games over .500 at 45 and 43. 4 back of the Phillies now. They come in 10 games over, 47 and 37. 1-0 pitch to Pierre is fouled out of play. 94 degrees here at game time.
Well, and as Craig mentioned on the pregame show, obviously much hotter down there on the field with the heat coming off that turf.
Wolf with the 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball didn't break. Yeah, Padilla's 5-inning stint last night marked the first time since June 18th that a Phillies starter did not pitch through the 6th, and the only exception was when Brandon Duckworth had to leave early because of injury. Juan Pierre hits his ball past Pat Burrell. Bounces off the top of the fence after it hit the track. And for Pierre, a leadoff double, his 15th two-base hit.
Tell you what, Juan Pierre crosses up defenses more than any hitter I've seen. You just don't know where to play him, and when you think you haven't played just right, he crosses up Burrell in left field and sends it over his head. He's shading him toward that line. We've seen most left fielders do that, but he crossed him up, hit it with some pop, one hop off that left field wall.
So a good start for the Marlins. They get on the board first on Friday and last night. Pudge hit that solo home run in the opening inning. Luis Castillo pushes a bunt beautifully toward Wolf and Thome. Wolf will make the throw, and it's dropped by Polanco. Everybody saved. First and third with no outs.
Well, Polanco is going to be charged with an error. It is a sacrifice, so Louis gets the benefit of that. A sacrifice bunt, neatly done, and Polanco dropped the throw from Wolf.
So the Phillies now have made one error in each of the 3 games. Polanco with his 4th error of the year. The hitter now, Pudge Rodriguez. Hits in 10 of his last 11 games. RBIs in 10 of his last 11. 17 ribbies during that stretch. Now 1 away from 50.
Well, it's the one thing about this series, Len, the Marlins have been able to score first in each of the first 2 games.
Randy Wolf has not seen much success against the Florida Marlins. 2-7. Did beat them in game 2 of the regular season, and that was his first start, an 8-2 win.
Right now he's struggling with his curveball. Every curveball he's thrown is just kind of rolled up there and hasn't had that sharp bite to it.
Pudge sends his ball to center. Tagging at third is Pierre. Bird makes a catch. He'll get it back into the infield, but it's a sacrifice fly. 1-0. 50th RBI for Pudge. Continues that hot streak. An RBI in 11 of 12.
Well, got the job done. Was looking for something up, something out over the plate. He got that pitch, a fastball, and drove it into center.
Talked during the pregame show about the confidence the Marlins are displaying right now. They're certainly having a lot of fun. I think they realize how important this stretch is and how big it has been to win 4 of the 5 this week against the Braves and the Phillies. So Mike looking for his first hit of the series. Tied for second in the National League with 26 home runs. Jim Edmonds leads with 27.
Yeah, and today's that situation, Len, where you want to be hungry. You can't go into the game, and I'm sure Jack McKeon is not allowing the club to do that. You can't go in and say, you know what, satisfied winning 2 out of 3 in Philadelphia. You want to be hungry and go after that sweep. Mike
Lope Pops it up, shallow center. Polanco called off by the center fielder Bird. So 2 outs. Randy Wolf trying to get out of this inning with only 1 run allowed. Marlins with runners at first and third and no outs. And it's Juan Encarnacion who's 1 for 8 this weekend.
Just looking back, and 6 of the last 7 outs for Mike Lowell have been fly balls or pop fly balls.
Let's check out the Washington Mutual League leaders. Against lefties, the Marlins, a .291 hitting team. Rockies and Cardinals over 300. Encarnacion sends one deep left center field. Bird at the track, at the wall, out of here. A big 2-out, 2-run homer to make it 3-0.
Encarnacion came into that at bat against Randy Wolf 2 for 10. He had hit a home run, so his second home run against Wolf. And Juan Encarnacion with a nice statement with 2 out to extend that lead to 3-0. And a mistake by Wolf, leaving that pitch up and out over the plate.
So the Marlins giving Mark Redmond an early lead. And when Red's been given a lead, he has worked very efficiently. One ball, 1 strike. Derek Lee. Outside edge. 1-2. Derek 1 for his last 15, but the hit was a big one, a game-winning RBI single on Friday. Marlins with 2 one-run wins in this series. Jim Thome knocks it down, steps on the bag to end the inning. The Marlins get 3 in the opening frame. Let's check out Toyota's lineup for the Philadelphia Phillies. Placido Polanco starts it. He's at second. Then it's Jimmy Rollins, the shortstop. Thome, Lieberthal, and Abreu in the middle. Notice Lieberthal and Abreu flopped with the lefty on the hill against them. Pat Burrell, David Bell, Marlon Byrd, and Randy Wolf will round it out. Yeah, a Bird and a Wolf at the bottom for the Philadelphia Phillies. There's a big red. Mark Redmond comes in looking for his 7th win of the year. He has been simply outstanding.
Well, you mentioned Mark Redmond's first win and the Marlins' first win this year, April 3rd at Pro Player Stadium against Philadelphia. And a good outing his last time out. An 8-1 win against Atlanta. Complete game 5 hitter. Gave up just 1 run to the Braves.
Only his 2nd outing against the Philadelphia Phillies. Luis Castillo, by the way, is going to get some shades.
Good idea on a day like today.
Big Red's first start as a Marlin was a win in the 3rd game of the year. And he beat the Phillies 8-3 on April 3rd. Only run he gave up, earned run, a home run by David Bell. Struck out 10 that day. 1-0 pitch to Polanco. It's low. 2 balls, no strikes. Carl Pavano went 6 2/3 on Friday. Did not allow a run. Brad Penny gave up a couple of runs. 1 was earned in 7 strong frames last night. We'll see Josh Beckett at Wrigley Field. Easy pop up, but into the seats.
Now you look back at that series against the Braves, and the starters went 23 innings.
Jack McKeon's looking for his 800th career win today. When he gets that win, he will be the 63rd manager in Major League history to reach the 800 win plateau. Frank Robinson next on the list at 810, and changing, of course, as the Expos continue their season. Three balls, two strikes. Here's a pitch and a leadoff walk. Just the 25th walk issued by Redmond in over 87 innings.
Yeah, and right now Red trying to get comfortable out there. That's not the way for him to pitch. Here's the defense for the Marlins with Derek Lee, Luis Castillo, Alex Gonzalez, Mike Lowell. What a defensive series we've seen so far in the first two games. Miguel Cabrera, Juan Pierre, he has dazzled out there, Encarnacion and Pudge Rodriguez.
Jimmy Rollins, the batter, switch hitter, and from the right side he smacks one out of play. 0 for 4 last night, hitting .217 on this current Phillies homestand. The Phillies have won 3 and lost 3. Phillies will hit the road coming up. They'll be at Montreal and then Shea Stadium against the Mets.
Yeah, the Phillies stay within the National League East up until the All-Star break.
Slide step by Redmond, fouled straight back to the netting.
Yeah, he is difficult to steal against. He alters his deliveries, but as we've talked in this series, the Phillies aren't going to steal a lot of bases. Plus, they're down 3 early on right now, too.
Slice to right. Encarnacion with a catch. Polanco back to first. Yeah, I would think that Mark Redmond might be a little bit more difficult to scout than some other pitchers, in that with the slide step, he'll throw the fastball, he'll throw the change, he'll use the big leg kick from the stretch, he'll throw all of his pitches, he'll throw that BP fastball in certain spots. A cerebral lefty for sure, and has a lot of success by not letting that hitter know what's coming next.
Yeah, and a guy who's seen him more than anybody, Jim Thome, 24 at bats, but no home runs against Redmond, and just 6 hits.
Redmond's only allowed 3 home runs and 1 home run in the last 287 batters he's faced. Jeremy Burnitz with a homer at Shea on June 25th. How about this? The Phillies have 1 extra base hit in the series. That was a double on Friday by Rollins.
That's amazing.
Knocked down by the catcher. It had 7 hits last night, 6 on Friday. Left 13 men on in game 1. Stranded 6 last night. Two 2-1 pitch. Thome crushes one. 3-2. Jim Thome with his 22nd home run. And again, Redmond has now only allowed 4 on the year.
One of the few Philly hitters has been hot. Tomei has now hit in 12 of his last 15, 7 home runs and 13 RBIs in his last 15 games. He took care of that pitch up in the zone. And they love Jim Tomei here in Philly.
So 5 runs combined here in the opening inning. And a couple of 2-run homers, Encarnacion and Tomei. One ball, 1 strike on Mike Lieberthal, who went 3 for 4 last night. He's 4 for 5 in the series. They're all singles. Lieberthal right now tied for 4th in the National League in batting average.
Well, we have here in this first inning a couple of very good left-handers that are both struggling, trying to get the feel, get the rhythm. Big Red cannot pitch from behind. He doesn't have that kind of stuff, and he's fallen behind a number of hitters. 3-1 now to Lieberthal.
Swing and a miss, full count.
That's how much confidence he has in his changeup. A 3-1 changeup to Lieberthal, who was thinking fastball all the way.
Lieberthal hitting .315 against lefties this year. He hit .346 last year. Pretty simple, isn't it? You get ahead, and Redmond's lights out. Bounce to Lowell, and after 2 outs here in the inning, that'll bring up Bobby Abreu, who's hitting .232 against lefties. Interesting splits for Jim Tomei. He's about the same, .261 against lefties, .260 versus righties. But Abreu really struggling this year against southpaws, and a couple of hits in the series. Abreu just 4 hits on his homestand. Redmond misses again. His pitch number 25 of the inning. And it's upstairs.
Yeah, he's had 2 full counts. He went to a 3-1 count to Lieberthal, and now he's 3-0 to Abreu.
Here he comes. Pudge took the worst of that. I asked him about the All-Star game and said he would be honored if named. Would love to go. First time as a National Leaguer, he said, but if it doesn't happen, I will certainly enjoy the 4 off days in Miami. Spend some time on my boat, hang with my family. So either way, it's a win-win. Got him looking. 1 strikeout for Redmond. 3-2. Jim Tomei provided just the 2nd extra base hit for the Phillies in this series. A 2-run homer off Mark Redmond to make it a 3-2 game after 1. The Marlins with that 1-run edge. They got 3 runs in the first off Randy Wolf. 1 was earned. Of course, the Marlins were helped by an error from Polanco. Well, Alex Gonzalez. Outside shot at the All-Star team. He was an All-Star in 1999. Struggling lately offensively. Average under 300 for the first time in a while here this weekend. Pops it up right side. Polanco makes a catch, and let's check in with Craig Minervini.
Thank you very much, Len. The cloud cover is giving the players some relief than about 10 minutes ago, but the temperature is still 95 degrees today. You can see the heat rising off the turf. The players will use ammonia water, towels in their back. They also have a tray full of ice that is just down the tunnel to the right of the dugout, just to put their spikes in to cool them off as well. The players also will tell you the ball bounces a lot more on the turf when it's hot, so we'll look for that in the ball game today. But the cloud cover, thank goodness, is giving some relief. It feels 30, 40 degrees cooler. They say the turf could be as much as 30 degrees hotter than the actual temperature. So if it's 95, it could feel like 125.
That would be like a heat index, as they call it. The opposite of a wind chill. Big night for Miguel Cabrera last night. 3 hits and 4 trips, scored twice, homered, doubled. Bounding ball to short. He's thrown out by Jimmy Rollins for the second out.
Well, we're really going to check in on these two lefties to see how they respond after struggling in the first inning. And so far, Randy Wolf has come back, and all of a sudden he's getting that curveball over with more consistency. Gotten 2 outs with the curveball, the pop up from Alex and that ground ball off the bat of Miguel Cabrera.
Mark Redmond 0 for 26. As you saw, he struck out 13 times. So we talked off the air about this. We'll be positive about it. Who's the better hitter, Al Leiter or Mark Redmond? We won't look at it negatively.
Yeah, right now I'd have to say Al Leiter. A little more experience, more time in the National League, and might put the bat on the ball a little bit more consistently.
Wolf with the 1-2. It's outside. '26-year-old lefty. Redmond made contact there. Fouled it out of play. Nice catch.
We'll ask Big Red on the flight to Chicago who he thinks is the better hitter.
Kicking the 2-2 struck him out. 3-2 Florida. Does your company have what it takes to be in the big leagues? Well, sign up for the Fox Sports Net Home Run Challenge on Thursday, July 31st at the Pro and find out. Local businesses are stepping up to the plate to compete for prizes and bragging rights while raising money for the Marlins Community Foundation. Call 954-845-9994 for more information. We'll see if Mark Redmond can settle in after giving up that 2-run homer in the first. He worked behind in the count throughout. He'll face Pat Burrell, who's just 4 for 30 this year against the Marlins. Came up with a big RBI single last night in the 8th inning, but he was gunned down trying to get to second by Pudge Rodriguez to end that inning, and it was a play that Larry Boa said was not a good one.
And it turned out to be a huge play for the Marlins. Good anticipation by Pudge. Realized there was no play at the plate. The other thing that Burrell is struggling with, we've talked about his season. He has struggled against lefties. You would think maybe at least to get a few hits and have that average a little higher against left-handers, but the average below 200 against lefties as well.
And that says something about his slump. It really hasn't mattered. Swing and a miss, full count. 3-2.
But once again, another full count for Mark Redmond.
Well, he struck him out. Good comeback by Redmond.
Yeah, got to a full count. He's done that a couple of times. Remember the 3-1 changeup he threw to Lieberthal. Here's a 3-2 changeup that has Burrell just badly fooled. Excellent pitch. It's an excellent pitch, but he doesn't want to get in that situation all the time. They have to throw a 3-2 changeup.
Now David Bell, the third baseman. A couple of identical lines for him. 0 for 2 with 2 walks on Friday and then again last night.
We mentioned Redmond's first win in his first start. That was a pretty important game, even though it came in just game 3 of the season, because the Phillies had beaten the Marlins 8-5 and 8-2 to start the regular season. But Redmond played the role of stopper on that Thursday afternoon. Derek Lee, 2 outs. Well, that day Bell hit a home run, but for the most part Redmond did what he wanted to, allowing 2 runs, just 1 earned in almost 7 innings.
Well, he was happy to get that run support coming over from the Tigers, where he got the lowest run support in the American League last year.
Now, the Tigers scored 3.68 runs in his starts. This year the Marlins averaging 5.77.
Actually, the Tigers may be averaging less than that this year.
Behind 2-0 on Marlon Byrd. Do the conditions sometimes play out for a soft tosser when it's really hot, kind of like it is when it's really, really cold? Hit hard, foul.
I think on a day like today, a soft tosser is not going to affect. I mean, he's going to get a nice grip. When it's cold, it's going to affect his grip on the ball. But as far as stamina, I think a real hot day affects a power pitcher a lot more.
Another 3-2 pitch for Mark Redmond here today. Gonzalez with a long throw, and Bird is saved. Lee could not make the scoop. That was a very tough play at first, and a long throw, of course, by Alex.
Well, I think Alex was trying to one-hop it over there, but threw it a little too far, and he got the in-between. He wanted to skip it off the turf. He did. And again, a couple of times we've seen Derek Lee that we get so used to seeing him pick that ball, not pick it. I think it could have been a base hit, but they're giving Alex an error.
So Gonzalez now with 9 errors on the year. The Marlins made a couple yesterday. Another chance for Alex. He'll throw out Randy Wolf. Still 3-2 Florida. Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Net is being brought to you in part by Pennzoil. Protection for the way you drive. Pennzoil, or driving protection. An interesting start to this one. Marlins with 3 in the first, the Phillies with 2. Mark Redmond still trying to get comfortable. Randy Wolf with a 1-2-3 second. So we'll start this 3rd inning, and the Marlins will send Pierre Castillo and Rodriguez against Wolf.
Yeah, I guess the best assessment is that it appeared that Randy Wolf settled in a little better than Mark Redmond. But the bottom line to all that, the Marlins still have the lead.
JP doubled and scored in the first. Snapped an 8-game hitting streak last night by going 0 for 3. Did reach twice. Was hit by a pitch and walked. He has now scored 54 runs. Well, Randy Wolf has been the topic of conversation in both Philadelphia and New York, not only for his pitching prowess, but his love life, a topic of conversation.
And we need to point out he is single.
He is single. Back on May 22nd, got on the 7 train and went to Shea Stadium as the Phillies were playing the Mets. Juan Pierre 2 for 2. So what happened was, you know what it's like to be in New York. You see a million people, but he saw and talked to briefly a lovely young woman, brown-haired, brown-eyed, and they met on the subway platform. Didn't get her name, and basically told the writers, told the Phillies PR staff about this situation, and so they're on the search. And the Phillies have received many calls the past month plus, but they still have been unable to locate the lovely young woman that Randy Wolf met and is trying to see again.
So the call is out. The
Yes.
Wolf call is out. Maybe you can get the Wolf Pack on it. Good move by Randy Wolf, and I think you saw it there. There's a Wolf Pack. They may have something to do now in the time and the time that the Phillies, of course, are on the road. Of course, it'll be an interesting road trip because they do go to New York.
Well, this could be a big week for Randy Wolf. I guess one of those love at first sight episodes. And he said, you know, I know it sounds pretty pathetic, and you know his teammates have been all over him.
Oh, yeah.
Ricky Leday has called him the train stalker. But he doesn't care.
And that's probably one of the nice things that his teammates have said.
Another throw to first. Again, Juan Pierre with 39 steals and 49 tries.
Hey, she probably is a Piazza fan.
Yeah, it's possible she's well aware of all of this and isn't interested. Pierre running. That ball is lined to that left field corner, off the wall. Pierre's going to round third. Burrow double clutches. And Pierre scores easily. Luis Castillo drives him in.
Boy, again, Louis with one of those aggressive swings from the right side, and the whole key to that was Juan Pierre was running on the play, but the key is that he picks up where the ball is and knows that it's not going to be caught by Burrow. So never a hesitation, and that allowed him to come around third full speed and score. So Luis Castillo with his 25th RBI.
Well, the top two guys in the order combining for 3 runs scored already. And it's 4-2. Talk about all the RBIs for Pudge Rodriguez. A big part of it is that the guys ahead of him are getting on base and putting themselves in scoring position. And by the way, while the unidentified unknown woman, the mystery woman, may not be interested in Randy Wolf, we think Randy Wolf's a good guy, so we're going to say that he just hasn't located her yet. That ball has a chance to be fair, and it is. Ground rule double. Louis will score. Rodriguez at second. 5-2. Well, it took an extra inning, Tommy. They didn't get those runs back in the second, but 2 here in the third to make it a 3-run lead again.
Four extra base hits in the game for the Marlins, and I love it when guys try to do things team-wise. Pudge trying to stay back and go the other way. If he doesn't get a hit, he's going to move Louis to third. Well, good things happen when you try things like that, and he ends up getting a double and an RBI.
The 0-1 to Mike Lowell. Fastball off the plate. Well, the other thing you like, the last few games, their best hitter, Mike Lowell, has not hit, yet everybody else has.
That's what you love to see, and that sustains winning streaks when guys are a little cold are picked up by the guys who get hot.
Hit to second base. Rodriguez to third, and Mike grounds out. So he's 0 for 2 today.
However, clearly, because Mike is a pull hitter, we talk about that all the time. He tried to stay back, tried to do the same thing Pudge did, but he didn't get the hit, but he got Pudge over to third. and sets the stage for Encarnacion.
Fans, another Marlins watch party will take place at the North Miami Beach Ale House tomorrow, July 7th, when the Marlins take on the Cubs from Wrigley. Be there to cheer on the Fish and participate in raffles, drink specials, and more. Call 1-877-Marlins for more information.
Yeah, good matchup. We've talked about that matchup tomorrow night at Wrigley. Josh Beckett against Matt Clement.
Runner at third with one out. Encarnacion hit a 2-run homer in the first inning. His 12th home run of the year. Breaking ball high.
How about the two guys at the top of the order so far today, Len?
Pretty good. 4 runs combined, 2 doubles, 3 hits overall. Busted bat, foul ball. Half the part of the bat went one way, the ball went the other.
Now there's that pitch up in the zone that he took care of back in the first inning. 2-run shot, number 12 on the year. And I was looking back, Encarnacion, of course, the first half of last season was spent with the Cincinnati Reds. And last year, before the All-Star break, he had 16 home runs and 51 RBIs. Well, 54 RBIs now and 12 home runs.
Phillies infield has moved in. The 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball hit in the air. Left center field. Bird setting. Makes a catch. Here comes Pudge. And he scores. Sacrifice fly for Encarnacion. So 3 ribbies for him. And it's now a 6-2 ball game.
One of those situations, too, when you get back in the dugout, if you're Encarnacion, one of the first guys you want to go over and thank is Mike Lowell. Mike's ground ball got Pudge to third, allowing that fly ball to bring him home.
Well, every guy who's gotten on base for the Marlins has scored today. We told you about the camaraderie at its height, of course, with the Marlins playing well over 500 baseball. They've won 12 of their last 17 on the road. They've played 50 games under Jack McKeon, and they're 29-21. The other thing is they've won 4 straight games here at the Vet. Talked about their struggles here in Philadelphia. They have never beaten the Phillies 5 straight times in this ballpark. There's the Corona Extra, miles away from ordinary. Factoid of the game. 14 wins and 8 in their last 10 against left-handed starters.
And we've mentioned the many hitters that have made improvements from last year to this year against left-handed pitching. That's one of the reasons.
Derek Lee sends Abreu back near the track. He makes a catch. The Marlins add 3 to make it 6-2. Working with a 4-run lead, 6-2. Hasn't been all that sharp. He's only given up 1 hit. That was the home run to Tomey, a 2-run blast in the first inning.
And just continues to fall behind. And you know it's just as frustrating for Mark Redmond to feel that way on the mound.
Well, there's no doubt, because with a 4-run lead, and he usually throws strikes no matter what the situation is, but he's trying to find that strike zone today. Just hasn't happened much. Polanco rips this ball past Mike Lowell. Going to be a single, though. The Marlins helped out there because those stands jut out right near the foul line. Cabrera was able to get to that ball after it caromed and kicked off that barrier right there.
Yeah, and a nice play by the youngster in left field to react to that. He's taken some balls out there during this 3-game series. So good play by Miguel to react, see where that ball went, pick it, and hold Polanco to the single.
Jimmy Rollins, a second-round pick back in 1996. Mentioned grew up near Dontrell Willis. Pierre, 1 out.
Yeah, Jimmy Rollins has been an all-star a couple of times.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Florida Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Florida Marlins. Here's Jim Thome, 2-run home run. His first time. It was his 22nd of the year. Thome points his bat towards center field. It's just a way to get ready right there. A little bit different with the runner on base and not as much time. 1-0 is fouled away and into the seats. Just a way for him to relax, and every hitter of course is different in that regard. It's not as if he's giving you a Babe Ruth, like this is where I'm going to hit it. That's not the case at all.
So when he does that at Wrigley Field, it's not the way the Bambino did.
That's right.
Interesting story early in his career about his approach with Nolan Ryan on the mound.
Yeah, he had a feeling Nolan Ryan would not understand it and certainly wouldn't appreciate that move right there. Yeah, he went 0 for 3 against Nolan Ryan. First time he met up with him. Now Jim Thome with that .263 batting average. But because he walks, and he's walked 60 times, his on base .382. Talked about Bobby Abreu with the strong on base. Came in at .398.
I think one of the best stories about Jim Thome, I remember reading early in the year when he was flown into town after signing with the Phillies. He's not a limo guy. You know, you can picture Jim Thome in a cab, not a limo,
right.
but they picked him up in a limo. And as they brought him to Veterans Stadium, he made the limo stop because there were some workers at the new park right next door, and he stopped and chatted with them for a while.
Redmond has been called for a ball.
I'm not sure why he stopped. He may not have had the right grip. He may have caught his spikes. But he's ready to go right here. And for some reason just stops.
Second balk of the year for Redmond. So Polanco now at second base. And another 3-2 coming to Thome. Struck him out. Third K for Redmond. Well, he is one of the most controversial sports figures of all time. Now Mike Tyson and those closest to him speak out like never before. If you think you've seen everything on Mike Tyson, think again. On July 16th, Fox Sports Net presents Mike Tyson, a Beyond the Glory 2-hour special event. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Couple of outs. The hitter Mike Lieberthal, he's 0 for 1.
Good pitch, by the way, for Mark Redmond. We saw Tomey against Brad Penny last night strike out on that high fastball. So even when you plant that changeup seed in the back of a hitter's mind, you can get him with a fastball. It's not as hard.
Gonzalez. Derek Lee with the pick. Nicely done. Saved a run. 6-2. Well, the Marlins trying to sweep the Phillies in a 3-game series at the Vet for the first time ever. They have a 6-2 lead here in Game 3. Gonzalez, Cabrera, and Redmond will face Randy Wolf, who's certainly not accustomed to giving up this amount of runs in any start, let alone 3 innings.
Well, the last time he gave up 4 earned runs was way back on May 27th against the Mets. 7 starts ago.
Yeah, that's a good point. A couple of these runs unearned today. He's only had 1 start all year prior to this where he allowed 6 runs. And all were earned at Los Angeles.
Saw where the Dodgers are eyeing Juan Gonzalez to help their offense.
There goes Alex's bat. Look out. Very scary incident, of course, at Pro Player. And like everybody's okay. A little scrape on the elbow.
I think now with the struggles of Alex, 0 for 1, so he's 1 for his last 15, and you have to fight your way through this. We've seen a couple of poor throws, and I think sometimes, and it'll affect everybody defensively, and that's one of the areas that Ozzie Guillen and Perry Hill really have to stay on Alex and everybody else when they struggle offensively, to don't let it affect that defense.
Yeah, he's made 2 errors already in the series and would have had a 3rd if not for Derek Lee making a nice play on the other end in the bottom of the 3rd. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here comes Wolf. Center field. Bird with a catch. Back to Craig Minervini.
Thank you, Len. You remember in Cincinnati we heard the Marlin pitchers complaining that the mound was too low. Well, here in Philadelphia there are no complaints from the Marlin pitchers. Take a look at the mound here. It's supposed to be 10 inches high. It looks like it's at least a foot, if not 18 inches high. And Brad Penny was telling me it's his favorite mound because you feel like you're right on top of the hitter. Helps your fastball. The very steep slope also helps the pitchers. The only thing is, Tommy Phelps said you have to make sure you extend and finish your delivery on a mound this steep. But no question the Marlin pitchers love the mound here at the Vet.
Very interesting point, and to continue that, which I will after this pitch.
Cabrera will fly out to center.
It's going to help a power pitcher a lot more than a finesse pitcher. So yeah, Brad Penny loves it. I'm not so sure Mark Redmond does at this point. He's a finesse pitcher. So the power guys love that high mound. The finesse guys, and that's why Tommy Phelps talked about his stride. The finesse guys, they'd like to have it down a little bit.
Redmond struck out swinging to end the 2nd. Randy Wolf trying to get his second 1-2-3 inning. The last time he faced the same guys, 7, 8, 9. Marlins lead 6-2. Contact made, busted bat, bouncer to second. Polanco throws out Redmond. 6-2 Fish. Aflac. Let's check out today's Aflac trivia question. Aflac, ask about it at work. Name the 2 Phillies to throw no hitters at the Vet. Well, one is pretty obvious. He started Friday. Kevin Millwood, who threw a no-hitter in April against the San Francisco Giants. It was a 1-0 Phillies win.
I think, and I'm going to throw out a hint, I'm not going to give his name. I think it was the right-hander who was later traded for Steve Carlton. And I've been given a quick no on that one. So let's not guess
nicer.
Rick Wise then.
They could be nicer about it. Wrong. Next.
Yeah, they could, you know, break it to me a little easier, you know.
Abreu, Burl, and Bell.
I do know one thing. Hall of Fame career, great career. Steve Carlton never threw a no-hitter.
That's pretty amazing. Well, you consider Mark Redmond has struggled to throw strikes consistently early in the count, but through 3 innings he's allowed 2 hits, made the 1 mistake, and Jim Thome crushed it. And he has a 6-2 lead.
Yeah, this is one of those outings that he's working his tail off out there because he knows he doesn't have the command that he needs to have nice 1, 2, 3 innings. So he's battling.
Swing and a miss. Abreu K's. Second time he struck out. Remember, Redmond struck out 10 the first time he faced the Phillies in April. He has 4 Ks today.
Yeah, then he had that 11 strikeout game against Milwaukee, but he kept telling everybody, I'm not a strikeout pitcher.
Well, the Marlins are 2 games over for the first time since July 7th of last year, 45 and 43. We're on July 6th of this year. Burl skies one into right center. Who wants it? Both want it. But Pierre gets it.
Boy, you always get a little leery when you see both players. Encarnacion held up his hand, so you know he's yelling for it. Well, a little tap. Good teamwork there. And Juan Pierre, he took a peek. Now he's holding his hand out, calling for it. And fortunately, Encarnacion just avoids a collision. It's great to see Juan Pierre and Derek Lee on the Fox Weekly show This Week in Baseball, talking about the best plays of the week, dissecting them.
Encarnacion just comes up short. Yeah, D. Lee got on JP a little bit.
Yeah, he did.
It was good.
It was good. I like that. Yeah, somebody hit a walk-off home run, and Juan Pierre said, man, I like to do that.
Derek said, you better just hit 1 in any spot. David Bell still hitless in the series. We talked about David Bell in April. Nobody expected him to put up gaudy offensive numbers or to even carry this team at any stretch, but just to be solid, which he has been defensively, but not hitting. He hits that ball well. Cabrera twists and turns. That ball's out of here. The kid was late for lunch. So Bell has homered twice against Redmond this year, and it's now 6-3.
Yeah, your first thought was, can Cabrera get it? And then you saw him turn. You figured he'd play it off the wall, and the ball just kept lifting a little bit. Line shot. So for David Bell, his 4th home run of the year. Just into that camera well in left field.
First 2 homers of the series for the Phillies coming today. Thome and Bell. Ball 1 to Marlon Byrd. Pierre Flips down the shades, fighting the sun. He's got it. Bell with a homer, making it 6-3. David Bell, a rare home run for him this year, just his 4th. 6-3 the score. And this is not the part of the order that Randy Wolf's had much fun with. Starting with Juan Pierre, gave up 3 runs, a couple of unearned runs in the first inning. In the 3rd, the Marlins scored 3 times. Pierre got it started both times. Takes ball 1.
It is one of those games, though, and you get the feel in certain games that you want to continue to add on to an already 3-run lead.
Well, Juan Pierre came in 274 against lefties, 2 for 2 today. And that's the other little thing you like about Juan Pierre is Jack McKeon doesn't have to worry about putting somebody else into center field with a lefty on the mound. You just throw JP in there every day. (3-1) pitch. That is ball 4. So Pierre has reached all 3 times today. Let's find out the answer to our Aflac trivia question. Aflac, ask about it at work. Name the 2 Phillies to throw no-hitters at the vet. Oh, that's right.
Terry Mulholland.
Terry Mulholland. You know, I was thinking it was fairly recently, and indeed it was. Joe Kerrigan is out.
Well, they're probably hoping Wolf can get them through this inning. He's due up first. This would be his last inning. But Kerrigan, I'm sure, not all pleased that he walked the leadoff man, Juan Pierre. You know, talking about Juan Pierre, JP gets upset if he hears a rumor that Jack McKeon might want to rest him a game.
Yeah, you're right.
He wants to play every game.
Let's check out the Cadillac NL East standings. Braves now with a 6.5 game lead over the Phillies. The Expos are 8 back. Remember, the Phillies and Expos will meet up this week. Marlins 10.5 out, but again just 4 back of the Phillies, who right now hold the top spot in the wild card.
Well, Carlos Silva is loosening up in that Phillies bullpen. The Marlins saw him a couple of innings last night.
Expos lead the Braves 4-3 in the 5th. They're in a rain delay right now at Turner Field. Mike Hampton has hit his first home run.
They had rain during that game last night, too, I think.
Yep. There's Silva. Wolf will throw to first.
Boy, the other thing that's not holding true to form with Wolf today, he's had 7 starts in the daytime, and coming into today 5-0 with a 2.98 ERA in day games.
He's gone at least 5 innings in every start in the 5th here today. Oh, 1 pitch. It's high.
Well, he's put together, Randy Wolf, a couple of good halves. Last year after the break he was 7-3 with an ERA just a little over 2. So that's 16-6. Second half of last year and the first half of this year.
And had not been prior to that a very good second half pitcher. Up the middle. 4-6-3. Not sure if Wolf got a piece of it or not, but the Phillies are able to turn a double play. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is the first daily sports show dedicated to the growing phenomenon of action sports, surfing, snowboarding, skateboarding, BMX, and motocross. If you like your sports wild and unconventional, watch 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 weeknights at 5 on Fox Sports Net. So Pudge will hit with nobody on and 2 outs.
Well, a big play for the Phillies right there. Get that double play ball off the bat of Luis Castillo. I was thinking about this coming to the ballpark today, Len. How do you think Lou Piniella looks with blonde hair?
Yeah, that's right. The Rays finally able to win 3 in a row.
Think
that'll be a good look.
Think Joe McGrain may get on him a little bit.
Yes, I think a lot. I think in the battle of TV hair, I would have to say in the entire big leagues, Craig Minervini and Joe McGrain would be right at the top.
I might have to agree with that.
Swing and a miss, a strikeout. 6-3 Marlins. Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Net is being brought to you in part by Cadillac. Bold vehicles defying convention. Cadillac Breakthrough. And by Just for Men. More than a hair color, it's the Rejuvenator. Marlins 6, Phillies 3. Last of the 5th. Pinch batter now, Nick Punto. Will hit for Randy Wolf. So that's it for Wolf. 5 innings.
And may have had his easiest inning last inning.
Solid single to right. So the pinch hitter Punto gets on base to start the Phillies half of inning number 5. Fourth hit for Philadelphia.
No, right-handers, to have the correct approach against Mark Redmond, have to do what Punto did. Stay back and try to take that ball the other way. Polanco's pretty good at doing that.
A strike to Polanco. He came in at 296 against lefties. Now the Phillies, even though they've lost the first 2 games of this series, they still have won 8 of their last 11. Derek Lee spins, throws to Gonzalez. How about another 3-6-3 in this series? The Marlins were able to turn one in the opening inning last night.
Boy, what a huge help that is. Jimmy Rollins hit into the 3-6-3 last night, and right here it's Polanco, who did stay back, tried to go the other way, but hit to the wrong guy. And once Derek Lee turns it over, that was done easily.
Well, you love those double play balls. It shaves. I mean, you never really know with how an inning could play out, but it shaves maybe 10, 15 pitches. Cabrera with the catch in left. Best defensive play he's made. We've seen his arm already. The Marlins kick off the second half of the season on Friday, July 18th, when the Marlins take on Sammy Sosa and the Cubs. All fans will receive a poster featuring the Marlins All-Stars, sponsored by Franklin Trade Graphics. For tickets, call Ticketmaster at 305-350-5050. And one note, Dontrell Willis likely will get the start that night, the first game after the All-Star break, depending on what transpires the next couple of weeks. There's Carlos Silva on a relief of Randy Wolf.
Yeah, I mentioned Silva last night pitched a couple of innings, gave up just one base hit, a single up the middle by Alex Gonzalez.
To third. You can see some frustration now for Mike Lowell as he tossed the bat away. He's 0 for 3 here today. He's 0 for his last 12 now.
Yeah, and to take that back even further, over his last 18-19 games now, his average at 200. So he has had his struggles, but you know what? That just comes with the territory. And I know Mike will look forward to the All-Star break, and sometimes you can use that time. He will, because he's going to be in that All-Star game. We don't know 100%. We're just guessing, but pretty good chance. He can work on a couple of things during a little batting practice in Chicago.
Now, the other thing is the Marlins are winning right now, and it certainly lessens the anxiety. You always want to do what you can to help your own team, but as long as the team's winning, that's all that matters. Silva with the 2-0 pitch. Bounding ball to Rollins. Groundouts to start this inning. While we have a moment, let's check out the Pennzoil protection play. Pennzoil, we're driving protection. 2 for the price of 1 here. Actually 3 for the price of 1 when you think about a double play.
Yeah, 3 outs. We get the 3-6-3 off the bat of Polanco, turned by Derek Lee and Alex. And then the nice play by Miguel Cabrera. Stretched out, little dive. You don't skid a whole lot on that turf out there, so nicely done by Miguel. Yeah, we've seen him throw a couple of runners out, but that's probably his best catch. Tell you another thing that indicates the way the ball club has played and gives you a little idea. Derek Lee is 1 for his last 17. Alex Gonzalez in his first really elongated slump of the season. Mike Lowell struggling a little bit, yet timely hitting. They've each come up with timely hits. The pitching's been solid, and the other guys have picked them up.
He hit hard but foul. I think elongated might be our Sunday word of the day.
Mm-hmm. That's one of those words. You ever have words that you say, but you've never written? Yeah, have you ever written elongated in a letter or in an email?
Yeah. Another 1-2 to Derek Lee. To center for a base hit. His second hit of the series. Well, the Marlins Monday night matchup will come at you at 8 o'clock as they face the Cubs from Wrigley Field. Our coverage begins at 7:30 with Marlins on deck, hosted by Craig Minervini. You always have the best seat in the house right here on the television home of the Marlins, Fox Sports Net. Marlins looking for a much better showing at Wrigley than they had last year when they were swept to start the second half. It's a much different Cubs team than they saw last year. In fact, they saw Don Baylor at Pro Player last year. Then they saw Bruce Kim as a manager. Now they'll see Dusty Baker here in 2003.
Well, right now the Cubs getting some long balls. Moises Alou hit another home run last night. He hit 3 the game before against the Cardinals. Of course, they've been giving up the long ball as well.
They trail the Cardinals today 3-0 in the second inning. Good pitching matchup. Woody Williams and Mark Pryor. Rough start to the month for Gonzalez. Marlins are trying to wrap up a 5-1 week against the Braves and the Phillies. Won 2 of 3 against Atlanta. They've won 2 straight against Philadelphia. Derek Lee is running. Rollins comes in, throws to first. That'll do it. Middle of the 6th. 6-3 pitch. Redmond against Thome. Smacked into right. It didn't take long to start the Phillies' 6th. A home run and a single for Thome.
78th pitch for Mark Redmond. He was really helped out by that 5th inning. He only threw 6 pitches. Got that double play ball, which helped him out.
Now Mike Lieberthal, the cleanup man today, moved up a spot. Abreu moved down 1 because of the lefty. Sporting News Comeback Player of the Year last year. Lost for the 2001 season when he tore the ACL in his right knee in May. The injury was so severe he had to go through a month of rehab before the surgery was done. More surgery on the knee this past offseason. Repaired a cartilage tear resulting from a minor injury that he suffered when he stepped out of a golf cart to avoid a swarm of oncoming bees.
I'm going to have to be careful of that.
Yeah. Are you playing coming up? Let's see. We have an off day in Montreal.
Montreal. I'll watch out for the bees in Montreal.
So Mark Redmond gets stronger later in his outings. Complete game his last time out. Took him 119 pitches to dispatch of the Braves in an 8-1 final on Monday.
And still just missing. Another 3-1 count.
Encarnacion on the spot.
Remember, he threw a 3-1 changeup. Lieberthal threw it to him again. Got it out.
Florida Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Net is being brought to you in part by Pennzoil. Protection for the way you drive. Pennzoil. We're driving protection. And by Geico Direct. A 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Abreu has struck out twice. Of course, Abreu, a longtime friend of Alex Gonzalez. Grew up near one another. Their families know each other well. Both from the same area in Venezuela. Ahead in the count now is Abreu. 2 balls, no strikes. Played lots of stick ball as a kid. Sticks that one into deep right center field. Almost got it out of here. Thome will hold it third. It's a double for Abreu. Boy, he just missed.
Yeah, you're right on that. The guy who has killed the Marlins over the years, 16 career home runs against Florida. Abreu just a little short of number 17. So all of a sudden the tying run comes to the plate in Pat Burrell.
Fans on his side here. They're on their feet. They have not been on his side after he's made outs in this series. He's 0 for 2 today. 197 on the year. And it gets a great hand here in the 6th. Well, Burrell signed a big contract extension in February. He's now signed through 2008. Outside corner strike.
Well, a much kinder generation of fans, because we talked about the fans in the 70s dealing with Mike Schmidt and vice versa. Mike Schmidt dealing with the fans.
The 0-1. Did not start Thursday or Friday. Larry Bowa just trying to let Burrell relax, get his mind off baseball for a couple of days. He did pinch hit on Friday, started last night, and went 1 for 4. A 2-1 pitch. Big swing by Burrell. There's Tomey at third. He singled to start the inning. Abreu followed with a double with 1 out.
When you're struggling hitting, certainly Pat Burrell is, the toughest type of pitcher to come out of it against is a pitcher such as Mark Redmond, who throws a lot of off-speed stuff.
2-2. It's downstairs. Two pitch. Burrell just reaches out. Not deep enough. Tomey's going to go halfway. He'll head back to third as Castillo makes the catch, and well, the crowd now booing, of course.
Well, and that's exactly why a guy like Big Red is tough for struggling hitters to come out of slumps against. 3-1 changeup, 3-2 changeup, and you start jumping at things and jumping and jumping, and got him way out in front for the pop fly.
Almanza the lefty. Nate Bump the right-hander. We saw a bump last night. David Bell homered his last time up. Mark Redmond trying to strand a couple of Phillies in scoring position here in the 6th. A 1-0 pitch. Fastball missed. Goes with the 2-0 change. Catches the corner. Six hits for each team. Bell skies one to deep center, but it's going to stay in the yard. Pierre with a catch. No runs. Good job by Redmond. 6-3. 6-3 Florida. 7th inning. Along with Tommy Hutton, Craig Minervini, and our entire Fox Sportsnet crew, Len Casper from the Vet.
Yeah, it's been a long day for Craig. By the time he got up to the upper deck to the Wolf pack, Randy Wolf was out of the game.
Yeah, Wolf went 5 innings. 6 runs, 4 were earned. Silva with a 1-0 pitch. Ranging to his left, Rollins. Well, Greg Louganis took the sport of diving to new heights, but he led a double life, and one scary moment nearly ended it all. Sunday night, find out about the Greg Louganis you never knew as Beyond the Glory takes you inside the hidden world of sports' biggest stars. Beyond the Glory tonight at 9, right here on Fox Sports Net. Well, a good job by Mark Redmond to get out of that 6th inning. Phillies had runners at 2nd and 3rd with 1 out. Coaxed Burrell into a pop-out, and then David Bell to center. And David Bell makes a nice play to retire Redmond.
That time Big Red had to get up the line quickly because he knew he had a chance to make that a tough play for Bell. So because of that, he's going to take his time. And also Larry Bowa is coming out to the mound. He may be making a move with Silva, so that'll give Big Red a little extra amount of time to recuperate.
Silva gave up a hit in an inning in 2/3, but no runs. Time for an Aflac pitching change. The Marlins lead the Phillies 6-3. We're in the 7th. Dan Plesac coming on when we come back. Marlins with a 3-run lead at 6-3, and they have led throughout. And let's check out the Geico Direct moment of the game. It's a big 2-out home run from Juan Encarnacion in the 1st inning off Randy Wolf. That made it a 3-0 Marlins lead.
Well, one of the things you like to do when a quality pitcher struggles, you want to try to jump on him because you know eventually he'll put it together. So Encarnacion was going to make sure that 1st inning Randy Wolf wasn't going to get by with it. So the 2-run homer really hurt him. Dan Plesac's been in 1 game in this series, and the only other time he was called upon was 2 nights ago. And yes, he was asked to come in and retire Juan Pierre, and he got him on a ground ball to second base.
1,033rd career appearance for Dan Plesac. He's 5th on baseball's all-time list. 41 years old. Works from the stretch. Popped up behind the plate, foul on the bunt.
Well, he is the perfect and the ideal matchup guy. I mean, that's pretty much how Larry Bowa uses Plesac, mostly against left-handed hitters.
Well, Dan Plesac told us last year, after the Phillies acquired him from Toronto, that he was thinking about retiring. But certainly liked the Phillies' chances this year. Enjoyed his experience last year and came back again.
Yeah, I think when they signed Jim Thome to that free agent contract, Plesac said, "Where do I sign?"
3-time All-Star. You have to go back, though. The last All-Star appearance for him, 1989, as a Milwaukee Brewer.
I was just reading today this date in baseball history. 1933, the first All-Star game played in Chicago at what was then Comiskey Park. American League beat the National League 4-2 thanks to a 2-run homer by the Babe.
Yeah, that's right. It's not Comiskey Park anymore, is it? Pierre to left center. Bird reaches out, can't make the play. Juan Pierre, a double, a single, a walk, and another double. 3 for 3. So the matchup did not pay off for the Phillies. Good effort by Bird.
Well, and another 3-hit game for Juan Pierre. Seems like when he gets a couple early, he's going to get that 3rd one for sure. Yeah, this ball just kept slicing away from Bird, who was playing him properly, but when a left-hander hits that ball to a center field, it's going to slice away from him, and Bird never caught up with it.
Pierre got a great jump. It's a strike. Lieberthal will not throw. Pierre now 40 for 50.
Well, just an unbelievable jump. And the other thing to remember, he had 47 steals last year. I like his chances.
The Marlins now have 99 stolen bases. One pitch.
It was just
outside.
look, even in Juan Pierre's year of 2001, when he had over 200 base hits, he had 46 stolen bases.
One of those plays where Plesac really didn't give him a look, didn't really seem to care if he took third, so why not? And the veteran Plesac understands that even with Pierre at second, if Castillo gets a hit, Pierre's going to score, so he's focused on that hitter. It's 2-2, the pitch. Bird moving the other way this time. He's going to catch it, though. So 7th inning stretch time from the vet, and Dan Plesac gets the job done even after allowing that double and stolen base. So it's 6-3 Marlins. We will keep it here in Philadelphia. Still 6-3. The Fish with the lead. They have had the advantage throughout. One strike on Marlon Bird. Bird reached on an error in the second inning. 0 for 2. It's one of those outings again for Mark Redmond as he nears the 100 pitch count, where he's had to battle hard today to throw strikes, get big outs. Derek Lee taps first before Bird can reach.
Well, we always start thinking outside the bun at this time of the game. Our Taco Bell think outside the bun. I know you and I were trying to figure out. We didn't get a chance to see Wayne Rosenthal to find out about the status of Braden Looper today. He's pitched in both games of this series. Picked up the save last night. Did it with 9 pitches, though, and I think that's good. So in thinking outside the bun, I think if it gets to that situation, we'll see Braden Looper.
I would agree. And Jack McKeon's philosophy since he took over this team is if you can win the ball game, you don't worry as much about tomorrow, particularly with the bullpen, and Braden Looper has been durable. Jason Michaels, the pinch hitter, flies to right. Tough today here in Philly at 94. I'm sure it's the same in South Florida, but try to keep cool as the season heats up. Sports your summer threads. Get your MLB authentic caps, jerseys, shirts, and more at FloridaMarlins.com. The FloridaMarlins.com shop for all things baseball. Marlins, get back in the game. There are Marlins fans in attendance. And there will be at Wrigley starting tomorrow night.
Yeah, we'll see a lot of fans at Wrigley Field. Or Sammy's group out in the right field bleachers.
Mark Redmond still looking for that first perfect 1-2-3 inning. He did get that double play ball in the 5th, but that was after a leadoff single by Nick Punto. And a base hit. Been a good day for Polanco with 2 hits, a walk. 2 for 3 afternoon officially.
Well, this is huge right here with Jimmy Rollins up there, because the man on deck could tie it with one swing. We've already seen him hit a 2-run shot in the first inning. So Big Red focusing on Jimmy Rollins here.
There's Tomey. Rollins in 2001 finished 3rd in the NL Rookie of the Year voting. I mentioned earlier a 2-time All-Star in 2001 and 2002. Yeah, there's lots of incentive for Mark Redmond to get Rollins and end this 7th. Gets the sign from Pudge. Here he comes, swing and a miss.
Yeah, it's like you don't want to let that on deck hitter, that next hitter, affect how you pitch to a hitter, but you certainly have to be aware of the man on deck in this situation.
Two. Played on one bounce neatly by Castillo. To the 8th, 6-3. Harry Adams, a right-hander, is on for the Phillies. Currently has not given up a run in 9 1/3 innings, covering 8 appearances and a 1.42 ERA his last 13 times out.
Well, we've talked about the Phillies bullpen this 3-game series. It's been terrific, 2nd in the National League in earned run average.
So 2 innings to go. The Marlins trying to win this series by sweeping the Phillies. They've already officially won the series by winning the first 2 games. The Phillies had won 5 straight series coming in. So that streak snapped. They have been swept 1 time this year. That was by the Mariners in interleague play.
Well, I think, as you've mentioned before, just be a huge week. The fact that they were able to take 2 out of 3 from the Braves in that short homestand, and then start this road trip with a 3-game sweep. So it'd be a great week.
They would get to 3 over for the first time this year. And again, the Marlins just want to put some breathing room between themselves and 500. And then when you go through a little stretch where you lose a series 2 out of 3, you lose 3 out of 4, whatever. You can see how hot it is today. Kevin Kelly behind the plate. But if you go through a little dry spell, it doesn't knock you under 500. Check swing by Pudge. About half the crowd today, 26,244. Over 52 last night. It's still a nice Sunday audience.
Well, and again, you look at the wins and losses, and you look at who's ahead of you, and you just have to go along with that old saying. It's like baby steps. You just want to inch forward. Hope that a couple of teams ahead of you get cold a little bit. You try to stay hot.
Yeah, I never did buy the book Baby Steps by Dr. Leo Marvin.
No,
I
Bill
don't know
Murray
if it actually
did.
existed, but
one of my favorite movies.
What about Bob?
What about Bob?
2-2. Foul tipped into the mid. Well, we'll baby step out to where Craig Minervini is.
Thank you, Len. The all-star players, with the exception of 2 still to be named, have already been told that they're on the team Major League Baseball right about now, right about a little after 3:30, supposed to be releasing the names of the players in the All-Star team, but the information is embargoed for the press until 8 o'clock after the All-Star show runs on television. But it's exciting stuff. The fans voting the starting lineup this year, a cast of votes from coaches, players, and managers voting another chunk of players, and then manager Dusty Baker for the National League picking 7 others, 4 of which are pitchers. Now, one other thing, there will be 2 more players named to the All-Star team, and fans do this. There's a candidates 5 in each league. The fans will vote on MajorLeagueBaseball.com to pick the final player in each, the AL and NL, and that voting will go through Wednesday. Nonetheless, guys, a lot of happy faces in both clubhouses, particularly the Marlins, and not just because of the scoreboard, from All-Star News after this game. Back to you.
Well, you're right, Craig. And
was that a little hint from Craig?
Possibly. Well, as you said already today, Mike Lowell, as much a lock as there is to make his 2nd consecutive All-Star team. David Bell. Tomey on the other end. Critics are calling the best damn sports show period a hybrid of sports news and sports bar banter. It isn't like anything else on the air. Coming up this week, A's outfielder Eric Burns, NFL wide receiver Rocket Ismail, and NASCAR's Kevin Harvick. Watch the best damn sports show period weeknights at 10 right here on Fox Sports Net. Marlins bats fairly quiet since the 3rd inning. Their runs came in the 1st and 3rd. 3 in the 1st, 3 more in the 3rd. Since then, just a couple of hits, a single in the 6th, a double in the 7th.
Well, again, that Phillies bullpen doing the job.
Here comes Adams with the 0-1. It's now a ball and a strike on Encarnacion, who homered in the 1st, picked up a sac fly in the 3rd, so he's driven in 3. Up the middle. Rollins got a glove on it, but that's it. So Encarnacion likely will pick up the hit. It's his 2nd of the day.
And it rightfully so. I mean, a few steps into center field, very difficult play, probably wouldn't have thrown Encarnacion out.
Now we'll see Jose Hernandez with the Cubs. We saw him as a Rocky in May.
We'll see the other Alex Gonzalez.
One strike on D. Lee.
Out of Killian High School in Miami.
Saw something in one of the Philly papers about Jim Tomey possibly being that last guy to make the National League All-Star team, getting voted in as the 32nd man.
Well, I think it certainly should draw the attention of every fan, and if you're a Marlins fan, you might want to check those 5 names. We don't know, one of them could be a Marlins player.
I want to say Andrew Jones was that player last year. The National League squad, he was the 30th man last year. And the game is for the fans.
I think that's a great idea when they started doing that last year, because there always is someone who gets left off. It's slided. It allows the fans to pick from a group of 5. The only problem, the 5 that are in that group are probably all deserving too.
Right.
And only one of them will make it. Could be Pudge.
Well, Pudge isn't already in. I would think he would be one of those 5. Adams with a 1-2, got him. Derek Lee strikes out. The Marlins strand 1. The Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Net is being brought to you in part by Chevy. The cars you can depend on, the cars that last. Will be there. and by Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey. Nobody makes whiskey like Jack Daniels. The Chevrolet upcoming game schedule, Fox Sports Net, exclusively through Saturday. The only day we will not see Marlins baseball will be Thursday because they're not playing.
There is no Marlins baseball on Thursday.
Well, Mark Redmond's thrown 110 pitches, 6 outs to go here today, and the Marlins lead 6-3. Thome 2 for 3. Make it 2 for 4.
Well, a great start to the 8th inning. You mentioned the pitch count, and you and I were discussing. We're thinking outside the bunt again. If Big Red should have like one of those real low pitch, a single-digit pitch inning, there's a chance that Jack McKeon could send him out for the 9th inning. But a lot of it depends on the effort in this inning right here. Tommy Phelps and Nate Bump, just in case, getting loose.
Lieberthal takes ball 1. Now 2-0. Playing again in Atlanta, and the Braves now lead Montreal 6-4. They're in the 7th. Lowell. Nice dig again by Derek Lee.
How many times have you said that this series?
Well, I tell you, there's been some low throws from that left side of the infield, especially today.
And so far, 5 pitches for Mark Redmond to dispose of a couple of tough hitters, Jim Thome and Mike Lieberthal.
Maybe I won't say what I said in the 7th about him looking for that first 1, 2, 3 inning. Talked about Redmond only allowing 3 home runs coming in before Thome's 2-run homer. Mentioned David Bell hasn't shown a ton of power before his solo blast in the 4th. I've been reminded of those.
And you know our viewers at home are keeping track.
Those examples of malfeasance. Cabrera into the corner. It's a foul ball. Good effort.
Save that word for another telecast, though.
Those egregious errors on my part.
See, now I know you attended class at Marquette.
If I dropped egregious malfeasance on you, that'd be too much. Let's put it this way. Our director, Jim Holley, took severe umbrage with the timing of my statistical information today.
And he didn't hold back in letting you know that.
He had to take severe umbrage last week with all that rain. Yeah. 2 strikes still on Abreu.
Come on, Bobby! Come on, Bobby! Pick it up, Bobby! Come on!
The pitch. Slowly hit at Castillo. Well, we'll see if Mark Redmond will head out for that 9th inning. 6-3. The 9th. Terry Adams to Alex Gonzalez. 6-3 Marlins. Mark Redmond due up 3rd in this inning. He's thrown 119 pitches. Braden Looper now warming in the Marlins bullpen. So we will see shortly what Jack McKeon has in mind. And while we have a moment, great to see Wellington's Curtis Pride back in the big leagues. And today, Tommy, he hit a home run, his first of the year for the New York Yankees.
Good for him. He battled, took him a while to get a job, a professional job, and then was in Columbus, AAA for the Yankees, hitting .314 in about 25 games, and just got the call up the other day.
1-1. Fastball inside. See if the Marlins can add to their lead here in the ninth. Haven't scored since the third inning.
So it looks as if the Yankees will salvage one of those games against the Red Sox. Yankees leading 7-1 in the ninth inning.
I believe they will play again tomorrow.
So the old wraparound series.
Yeah, it'll be Pedro against Messina. Three-two the count. Here's the pitch by Adams. Struck him out. Greg Minervini, what do you have?
Well, thank you, Len. Between innings, the pitching coach Wayne Rosenthal and manager Jack McKean came over to see Mark Redmond. Didn't give him the pat on the back yet. They asked him how you feel, how you doing, and I even read the lips. Can you go one more? And Redmond nodded. It looks to me like he might at least start the inning, and then if he gets into trouble, Braden Looper would come on. We'll see.
All right, thanks, Greg. Nobody yet in the on-deck circle. Miguel Cabrera's 0 for 3 today.
Well, the other thing to consider, his easiest inning and his only 1-2-3 inning of the game came last inning.
Hit hard, but David Bell is there. So Big Red will bat, and he'll have a chance for his second straight complete game.
And it would be his third of the year. Also had a complete game back on April 24th against Milwaukee. That was his 11th strikeout game.
Marlins have 5 on the year. Carl Pavano has 1. Dontrell Willis with a couple. Both shutouts for Willis. One pitch. Out straight back. 1-2 on Mark Redmond. The pitch off the plate.
I was just looking. I wanted to confirm it, but talking about complete games, the Atlanta Braves, the only team in the National League without a complete game.
Redmond strikes out. That's all right. He'll get a chance to head out for the ninth. 6-3. As you take a look at the Marlins game summary, you'll notice they were able to hang a couple of crooked numbers early in the game. And so far, that's all Mark Redmond has needed. 6-3 the score. Home runs today by Encarnacion for the Fish, Thome and Bell for the Phillies. And that is a good look. John Bugashambi, I think, is on the, is it right or left?
Well, he's got the headset. Boog's on the right there.
Well, the theme of the day is Big Red with Mark Redmond on the mound. That is a good look.
I think Boog between innings told us that he was thinking about the fro look, the 70s look.
Well, Mark Redmond, 119 pitches. Pat Burrell will start the Philly ninth.
And Len, we do it because we love Boog.
That's right. He's not a big fan of ours right now, but we'll have plenty of time on the flight to explain why we did that at his expense. Burl 0 for 3, struck out his first time, fly to center, popped to second. And the pop to second was in a pretty crucial spot. Second and third, one out in the sixth.
Yeah, long fly ball. Could have made that an RBI. Could have made it a 2-run game.
Again, the Marlins are trying to win their 5th straight over the Phillies. Trying to sweep them here in a 3-game series for the first time ever.
Well, I'll tell you what, it has been a tremendous effort by Mark Redmond today. Would have never thought, with his early struggles, didn't have a lot of command. Would have never thought we'd see him here in the 9th inning trying to nail down a complete game. Well, he threw a 3-1 changeup. See if he comes back with a 3-2.
Burl turns on it, but didn't hit it deep enough.
Because it was a 77-mile-an-hour changeup, and he hit it off the end of the bat.
So the struggles for Burl continue. We'll say it again, the Phillies were playing their best baseball of the year prior to this series. They had a 7-game winning streak that was snapped on Wednesday by the Cubs. They've been pitching great. Their offense has been very good lately. But the Marlins pitching outstanding this weekend, and they've had some very timely hitting.
It'll be interesting to see how the Phillies are playing, how Pat Burrell is doing the end of the month when they come to South Florida over the weekend, July 25th, 26th, and 27th.
Two strikes on Bell. And for Randy Wolf, his struggles against the Marlins continue, even though he did beat them in his first outing of the year. Wolf in jeopardy of falling to 2-8 in 11 games against Florida. And 1-5 here at the Vet. Oh, what a beauty from Mark Redmond. Nasty curveball. Bell will have a quick chat with Kevin Kelly.
And you know, hasn't thrown a lot of the big curveballs today. And he drops that one in. I'm not sure what he's arguing about. If he thinks that ball is high, then he's wrong. That ball was not high. The other thing about these two clubs matching up, their other top-notch pitcher, Kevin Millwood, is 5-7 against the Marlins lifetime. So he hasn't pitched well against Florida.
Marlins trying to improve to 5-2 here at the Vet this year, and 6-4 against the Phillies. Two and one on Marlon Byrd, representing the last chance for Philadelphia. A pitch. Now it's 3-1. Tomas Perez, pinch batter, on deck. Well, apropos, it's come down to a full count for Mark Redmond, how he started the game.
More than he would like. He's had 3-2 counts, but it would be nice to have back-to-back 1-2-3 innings to finish it.
Mike Lowell, high throw. Derek Lee came up off the base. Alfonso Marquez made the call. He was 10 feet away from it, so got a good view.
Well, Mike Lowell hurried the throw. He knew he had to. Bird has good speed. Came up and fired a little bit high. Let's see if D. Lee gets it back down. It's close. He did come off the bag. And then the question is, did he get it back before Bird touched first base? And according to Marquez, no.
So back-to-back 2-error games for the Marlins. Pinch hitter now. Perez. Ball one. For 2 in the series, and he's only appeared as a pinch hitter in this series.
Done a pretty good job off the bench. Has 6 pinch hits. Good little player. Switch hitter. Hitting over 300.
One and two. Now Mark Redmond has just taken the air out of the baseball all day. Lots of changeups in the 77 range. A few curveballs in the high 60s. And for much of the year, a fastball that rarely, if ever, has reached 90. But he can pitch, and he's trying to get his 7th win. Two. Struck him out. Ball game over. Series over. The Marlins have swept the Philadelphia Phillies. And for Mark Redmond, back-to-back complete game wins. He starts the week by beating the Braves and ends it by beating the Phillies. So the Marlins go 5-1.
Well, we've talked about it a couple of times, and it's turned out to be a really nice deal, trading Gary Knotts and Rob Hankel and Nate Robertson to the Tigers to acquire Big Red. And Big Red has come through with another dandy.
Marlins now 3 games over 500, 46-43. They've won 13 of 18 on the road. Jack McKeon, congratulations to him, his 800th career win, 63rd manager in history to win 800.
They'll continue on with their best record in the National League East, 27-14 now since May 23rd, and 6-4 against the Phillies this year.
We're waiting for Mark Redmond. Frank Minervini will chat with him in a moment. He went back out there in the 9th, was able to finish the job, his 3rd complete game of the year, and for the Marlins, their 6th as a team.